Olson, and it is Monday night, and we have been looking at all kinds of stuff today. It's getting hard, you guys, to go through all the information that comes. But the first picture I'm showing you today here, this is a picture from Spain. This was taken off somebody's screen because they didn't know how to get it over to me. So this, what you'll notice is that today, this object in Spain was left of the sun with a hole in it, right? We've captured this before. It would just remind you here, we captured this on a different camera as well. So you can see that we're getting this thing is getting clearer and clearer and clearer. And then you turn around and you go to Antarctica, and you see, or not Antarctica, but Europe, and you see this. And what's interesting about this picture, guys, is that you'll notice as this object started to set behind the mountain, it is behind the mountain. It is not a lens flare. This is possibly the real size of the objects right now, or at least the way they look through the convex Earth atmosphere and so forth. This is stunning stuff. Again, this just shows that, what I think this probably, again, I don't even want to guess. It's just there, and it's obvious, and it's not hard to see it, and just interesting as all get out. So thank you for those pictures, and I really do appreciate the subscribers. By the way, my email is olson.steven.d@gmail.com. And you can send me stuff. Here is something I've been seeing in a lot of pictures. This is just a really good picture of it. And it's this weird streak that's happening across the sky. We saw it in Texas a couple days ago. We saw it in several other areas. And it is definitely a manifestation that we're watching. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like this huge strip of red. This does it no justice. This is kind of whited out a little bit because I used the original photograph. But the subscriber that sent this said this was as red as blood in the sky. Now check this one out. There it is, see? Now, let's stop it right there. So we know we've got this big ring around the sun, right, that we've seen many, 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 many times, and that we talk about, and that the flaring goes out on the sides of it, both north, south, east, and west of the circle, if you will. And interestingly enough, this particular picture was taken, I think this is over Mexico City, and you can see it's just, it's getting to the point where it's just obvious as can be, right? And so again, I think that things are getting to the point where, a lot of stuff
diminishing north of the New Madrid seismic zone. The river is very low in some places and bone dry in others. As it turns out, there is actually a 130-mile stretch of the river from Tennessee to northwest Mississippi that is so low that it is impossible for barges to deliver their products to the markets. The measurements from the river gauge taken in Memphis indicate that the water level is down almost 7 feet, which is now among the lowest on record. The lowest level recorded on the river was on July 11th of 1988, when it was down by 10.73 feet. Just a few days ago, the New Madrid seismic zone registered 3 earthquakes within 10 hours of one another, which poses the question of whether the seismic zone activity is somehow causing the river levels to rescind. Or could it be some other natural cause, such as a severe drought, that has occurred in the Central Valley region? If the water level is dropping, as river gauges are indicating, then something out of the ordinary has occurred that could possibly explain this strange occurrence. It is very possible that the recent earthquakes near the seismic zone are creating stress on the fault, thus allowing the ground to temporarily move upwards as it attempts to adjust itself to the movements being registered along the zone. The heaving of the land was actually noted between December of 1811 and March of 1812, when the last major adjustment of the New Madrid occurred. During this time, a series of powerful earthquakes near Missouri created what is called a fluvial tsunami in the Mississippi River, where the water actually flowed backwards for several hours. The earthquakes of this time period caused a number of fissures to open in the Earth's surface, snapping trees in half, causing the leakage of sulfur from underground pockets, riverbanks to vanish, and the flooding of thousands of acres of forested land. The quakes were so strong that they rang church bells thousands of miles away in Boston, and whirlpools developed suddenly in the Mississippi River from a number of depressions. Aftershocks were felt along the zone for years after the earthquake of 1812. What makes this story so important is that the Mississippi is vital to the economy of the United States. If the river barge traffic came to a slowdown or a complete shutdown, then the distribution of vital supplies such as grain, petroleum, and coal would be seriously jeopardized, since inland waterways carry 60% of grain exports, 22% of domestic petroleum, and 20% of coal that is used to generate electricity. To no one's surprise, the media hasn't said much about this recent event, instead devoting much of their attention to the Las Vegas shooting tragedy, the Puerto Rico humanitarian crisis, and the nation's political discourse. Still, there are some strange and bizarre earth changes that are happening before our very eyes that deserve our attention, and especially that of the media. The Pacific Ring of Fire is rumbling with a series of high-level volcanic and seismic events that are very worrisome. A new report out of Los Angeles indicates that California is on the cusp of a major seismic event, which, coupled with the strong activity in the New Madrid region, poses serious consequences for millions of people that live in these areas. According to the most recent seismic track, a series of small earthquakes struck the New Madrid region within the last 3 weeks, with 2 of the largest quakes coming within the past week. What is so unique about these most recent quakes is that they are all happening in the same area where portions of the Mississippi River are disappearing, according to initial reports from early October. Is this just a coincidence? Or just maybe the water is seeping into cracks in the surface of the earth as a result of the reawakening of the New Madrid fault, as some are suggesting? Maybe it's not a coincidence that many different earth changes are happening in such a short time frame. Just a few days ago, a horrific rock slide happened in Yosemite Park where a large portion of El Capitan broke loose. Could this be a precursor to a West Coast quake coming soon? The 8.1 quake that struck Mexico in early September sent shock waves across America for several hours following the event. This map from the USGS shows that the entire West Coast, as well as the New Madrid region, are hotspots for earthquakes in the United States. As shown in this graph, the earthquake of 1895 was experienced across 8 states, as shown in the red, and was felt as far north as Wisconsin and as far south as Louisiana. On September 21st, Time published an article posing the question of whether the United States is overdue for a catastrophic earthquake. And although experts admit that they do not know when the next disastrous quake will strike, we know that listening to alternative earthquake indicators, such as the popular channel DutchSense, are providing an accurate point of view that has been documented many times over, irrespective of the mainstream media's point of view regarding earthquake early warning signs. You may remember this event, which the Associated Press called a 1-in-1,000-year event, an event that garnered only limited attention from the cable news media. But in late April and early May of this year, historic floods inundated a number of states along the Mississippi.
So we got like major emergency flash flooding in...
Hello, everybody. It is 12:46 p.m. Central Time on Tuesday, the 10th of October, 2017. and I hope you are doing well. We are here on the Earthquake 3D live stream, and we daily recap seismic events from around the planet. In case you didn't catch it last night, a new 6.0 earthquake, actually 6.4, then downgraded to 6.2, then 6.1, then re-elevated to 6.3. Look where it struck, guys. It struck right at the Bolivia, Peru, Chile border region. And you may remember we issued a warning for 5.0 activity going to mid-range 5. Here, right here in Bolivia, and technically I did warn North Chile, South Peru. I said all three countries would need to be warned because the earthquake was going to be striking right here in the border region. I said Bolivia, look where it is. It's technically in North Chile, but we try to get it down to 200 miles, and that's definitely under 200 miles away. So that's an earthquake forecast direct hit within a magnitude of what we were looking for. Again, we were looking for up to 5.5, and a larger magnitude came in, 6 point something. There it is. Now, look at the other locations. Look at this. New 5.0 activity coming across our fracture zone right on the tip of our red arrow, coming across from the West Pacific. That is indicative of pressure coming across the Pacific, obviously, but it's heading towards northern South America. I would also expect southern South America to be showing activity in the next couple hours to the next day, just because the middle part has moved, northern part's going to move, southern part's going to move as well. Overseas, when we look at the activity that struck since yesterday, take a look. Nothing, absolutely nothing. USGS EMSC reporting 0 earthquakes above 4.0 over in the West Pacific since yesterday. Okay, yeah, that's normal. Not. So we are seeing a abnormal silence event maybe going on right now, or a lack of reporting of earthquakes. Now, speaking of lack of reporting of earthquakes, I would like to take the time right now to take you over to my Facebook page. Are you watching? Pay attention, guys. Look at this. Over on my Facebook page, I've got a post out right now. I'll read it to you. 34 minutes ago, I made the post, but this happened early this morning, about 3 or 4 a.m. West Coast earthquake and volcanic eruption alert. Last night, a noteworthy M5.2 earthquake struck off the coast of Oregon at an undersea volcano called the Axial Seamount. The professionals are trying to hide the event and not tell the public to prevent panic over the volcano erupting, I suppose. We issued an earthquake forecast to watch for up to M5.2 activity to strike this location off the coast of Oregon. Now an M5.2 has struck and the professionals are trying to hide the earthquake. Here is the information on the M5.2. I'll click on that in a second. Are they hiding an eruption, or are they hiding the fact that an M5.2 earthquake was forecast to occur? Or are they going to try to say it was another mistake? If they try to claim mistake, then I am the only human on the planet who can forecast mistakes down to the day, location, and magnitude. Let's click on the information, go over there, check it out. Here's our location. Take a look at it. Okay, whoops. There we go. Look at where it struck, guys. Maybe I should turn on the satellite imagery so you can see it a little better. Now, where did we issue our warning for? We issued our warning for a 5.2 to be striking between the cleft segment, which is right here where this volcano is, and down here to the south at the Gorda Escarpment, which is the Mendocino Ridge and Gorda Escarpment. So it struck right next to the Axial Seamount, which is right here. See these huge undersea volcanoes? Now look where it is. Somewhere in this region, this 5.2 struck. Well, there's undersea mounts here, and it's part of the cleft segment and the Axial Seamount, which was erupting over the past, well, let's see, 2 years ago. In 2015, the Axial Seamount erupted, and they kept it a secret. Didn't tell anybody until after it finished.
Happening on the Earth at this time. One of the most dramatic changes that is still unexplained has to do with the receding of the sea in South America. This phenomenon has been ongoing in this region of the world since early August. Earlier incidents of the sea retreat were being blamed on huge Atlantic storms sucking the waters from the ocean, as this image from Tampa Bay is suggesting. However, this latest incident of anomalous tides, which occurred on October 7th in Caratuba, is now being blamed on a harvest moon. With all of the conjecture about the causes of the anomalous tidal retreat, what will be their excuse on the next occasion of this strange event, and their reasoning for the dramatic changes that are happening in this and other regions of the world. Let's look back at this strange phenomenon from the time when it first was observed until the most recent occurrence on October 7th, from this video compilation of the anomalous sea retreat.
you.